All right, so we're diving into some serious accusations surrounding Diddy today, which I have to say is a lot to process. I mean, you think of Diddy and you think hip hop mogul, legend, Grammy winner, expert speaker, yeah, a giant in the music industry facing these kinds of charges. It's definitely a heavy situation. And to be clear, we're not just talking about rumors here. This is a developing legal case. Host speaker. Right, and it's not just the accusations themselves, but the sheer number of people coming forward.
Oh, right.
Right, with some claiming to be minors when it happened. It's disturbing, especially with this mention of horse tranquilizers. Expert speaker. Yeah, that detail really stood out. The fact that an indictment has been issued means a grand jury, operating behind closed doors, has reviewed the evidence and found enough to formally accuse him of these crimes, host speaker. So, to be clear for our listeners, an indictment doesn't mean he's guilty, just that there's enough to go to trial.
Nice person here.
Exactly. It's a significant step, but it's important to remember that Diddy is presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. But yeah, this is serious stuff, and the use of horse tranquilizers, if true, is incredibly troubling. It suggests a level of premeditation and disregard for consent that is deeply concerning. Host speaker. Okay, let's unpack that, because the article mentioned horse tranquilizers, and that's chilling. Is that common in these kinds of cases?
It's not common. No, not that I've come across at least. The alleged use of horse tranquilizers, though. It raises serious red flags about the nature of these accusations.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well,
and it's not just a matter of he said, she said. We're talking about specific charges, right? The article mentions sexual abuse, coercion into drug-fueled parties, threats, and violence.
Exactly. These are very serious criminal counts. We're not talking about a slap on the wrist here. If convicted, he could be facing decades behind bars.
It's heavy stuff.
Yeah.
And this isn't the first time Diddy's faced accusations. Remember singer Cassie?
Right, Cassandra Ventura.
Yeah, she came forward last year with her own story, claimed Diddy abused her for over a decade.
A decade. Wow. That's a long time to endure that kind of treatment.
It really highlights the human toll of these allegations. It's easy to get caught up in the legal back and forth, but behind all of this are real people whose lives are deeply affected.
Absolutely. And it's important to remember that while Cassie made those allegations, Diddy has denied them.
Right. He has pleaded not guilty to all the charges.
Yeah.
So where does that leave us?
Well, as it stands, Diddy is currently in jail in New York.
jail.
Yes. His lawyers are working to get him released on bail while he awaits trial.
Okay, for those of us who aren't legal experts, what does that mean? What is bail exactly?
Sure. In simple terms, bail is a way to avoid staying in jail before the trial. Diddy's lawyers would have to pay a certain amount of money to the court, almost like a guarantee that he'll show up for his trial. If they can come up with the money, he could be released until then.
So it's not about guilt or innocence at this point, but about making sure he's present for the legal proceedings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's where things get even more interesting, especially with Elon Musk entering the chat, so to speak.
Oh, yeah. Because when Elon Musk weighs in on something, you know it's about to get more complicated.
Right.
Like, out of all the people to chime in, it had to be Elon Musk. And he didn't hold back either. Retweeted the article with this pointed question. How many people knew this? Almost like he's suggesting this was like an open secret in Hollywood or something.
Yeah, it definitely throws a wrench into things, right? Because when Elon Musk says something, people listen. Whether you agree with him or not, he has this massive platform. And for him to even imply a cover-up, well, it gets people thinking.
It does, and it makes you wonder, right? Like, is this Diddy situation just the tip of the iceberg? We're talking about potential abuse of power, the pressure to stay silent. It's not like this stuff is limited to just the entertainment industry, you know?
Absolutely not. This case, it's like a microcosm of something much bigger, something we see playing out in different forms across all sectors of society. The hashtag #MeToo movement, it shined a light on these power dynamics, how they can be so easily exploited, and it forced us to confront some uncomfortable truths.
For sure. It sparked a conversation, that's for sure. But where do we go from here? Do you think this case, this Diddy case, will actually lead to real change?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Will this be a turning point? It's hard to say for sure. Change like that, real systemic change, it takes time. But what this case does, what it has the potential to do, is keep that conversation going, keep pushing for accountability and support for victims.
And remind people that it can happen anywhere, to anyone. It's a lot to unpack, that's for sure.
Yeah.
The accusations, the potential cover-up, the larger systemic issues, it really makes you think.
It does. And you, our listeners, you're part of this conversation too. It's about asking tough questions, demanding better, and creating a world where these kinds of things are not swept under the rug.
Powerful words to end on. Thanks for breaking this all down with us. It's been, well, A lot to process, but important nonetheless. We'll be back soon with another deep dive. Until then, stay informed, stay engaged, and stay safe.